Number 6. Yes, I love this. I love this. It wasn't until about, possibly 8, 9 months after I started that I would get somebody sometime wander around to me and say, hey, Steve, I was sitting up last night and I was thinking about this, or I was reading about that. What do you think? Should we do this? And my response, and I'm very proud of myself that I didn't beat them over the head and say, what do you think I've been trying to tell you for the past 9 months? But my response was, oh, that sounds really cool. Why don't you give it a try and give a feedback on how it went? I'd love to hear it. What I really wanted to do was just bang their heads together, because it won't matter how many times I tell them. It only matters when they decide. That's where the learning comes in. So, that's it. Shut up and smile. Yes, it was all your idea. Wonderful. Wow. Where did you hear that one? It was marvelous. That's what we're looking at. So here's the other thing that I came across is that, how do we change culture? And this is what Chris Buxton, the CDO, was into me about all the time. How are we changing the culture? And because he was getting excited, because he could now walk around that whole inner city office and see people doing agile things, and see sticky notes on the screen, and see Kanban boards and Scrum boards and things moving. And he could see at last the occasional one was even doing a burn down chart. And that blew him away. So he was very much into it. How are we doing with culture? And I said to him, there's only one way to change a culture. You might have different aspects to this out there, but to me, there's only one way, and that is constantly. Absolutely constantly. So in the local newsletter thing that we had online, I would be trying to post something little just about every day relating to Agile. Just some small quote or something that I come across or something that I'd read, and post something. So it's that constant change, constantly in front of them, that helps them do that. That psychological safety took a lot longer. Within a team, they started to get psychological safety, but they weren't too sure about relating that outwards as well. And it's that idea of, again, accepting failure. It wasn't until I started coming up with this wonderful quote that I remembered. The idea of fail fast, learn fast was something that I would never repeat in a new organization, because it's so misunderstood. But I said to them, the thing about failing fast is, it's like this quote: if you ever find yourself in a hole, the first thing to do is stop digging. And it's that sort of fail fast. Whoa, stop. What do we got? How do we learn something there? So we don't go down that track because we started it. We just stop and work out. And as far as fail fast, learn fast is concerned, we do it all the time. It's like walking down the street. If we don't constantly adjust all the time, we're not doing it, we're not thinking it, it's all automatic. We don't constantly adjust, we'd end up walking straight into people, or out in front of a bus, or into a pole. We're continually failing fast, learning fast, adjusting our steps and carrying on. And that's the same with this, it's ability to fail fast. And I would relate quite often, areas of my failures, not as, hey, I'm terrible, but as a, hey, this is what I learned out of this. I don't know, you've got your own experiences, I would tell them. Where did you fail and learn? Would you have learned if you couldn't fail? And it's that idea and getting it through. And I am very, very firm believer, always have been a very firm believer, that nobody can learn anything new if they're doing everything right all the time. So it's only in our failures that we learn, not in our doing everything correctly. And it's quite a good one. When I first started out with my very first team as a programmer, My development manager took me aside and he said, Steve, if you're not doing a total stuff up at least once a month, if not once a week, then we need to have a talk. And I said, what? And he says, oh, if you're doing the same stuff up, that'll be a different talk. But I want you to make mistakes. I said, what do you mean? You actually want me to make mistakes? He says, yes, not deliberately, of course, but it tells me whether or not you're learning. If you're not stretching yourself, then it'll come out by the fact that you don't make any mistakes. So he says, his statement was that he didn't hire me for who I was. He hired me for who I was going to become. And if I didn't make mistakes, I wasn't going to become anything. And, you know, there's always people in your life. You say, well, you know, if I hadn't met that person, I wouldn't be who I was today. And that's very much like that. Being able to understand mistakes and work through it, the acceptance of it is a good one. That psychological safety within a team was a huge area that you're looking towards.